Running on this Monday, September 6th, and it is Labor Day. So happy Labor Day to everyone. I'm sure everyone has been busy with cookouts, barbecues. I know Charlton's having Old Home Day, which is a big thing for a lot of different towns. So that's kind of cool. And then, other people just kind of relaxing, chilling, maybe trying to get their tummies in order after they've eaten quite a bit all weekend long. We hope that you were all enjoyed yourselves, but did everything in moderation, because you don't want to play catch up first thing on a Monday, especially when it's still that holiday weekend. And of course, it's the official kickoff to like the last kind of weekend of the summer for kids, because they've already started back at school. And so Tuesday will begin their official, I think their official kickoff of full weeks coming on board. So what are you up to? But good morning. This is Carol, so AKA Naughty Boss, live with Two
Sisters. Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Janice, AKA Wellness Diva 5.0. Great weekend indeed. We had some rain yesterday, but nice visit with our brother. And he made me, as I was showing my sister, some lovely paper flowers. And I said to him, I said, Fran, I just want to belt out paper roses, but they are absolutely beautiful. So I'm just thrilled to have them in the background. It was just a great weekend. Of course, ran into Ralph, our cousin Ralph, and his wife, Anne Marie. Just a great weekend. So nice to hang out. So Labor Day 2021. Now, we are getting into, we are very close to the first anniversary of our dad's passing. And of course, a lot of memories have been coming up on Facebook of that time last year when all my siblings, especially out of state, were flying in and out. And I think when I look back on this past year, and I mentioned this to somebody the other day, I can look back at it and say, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but woe is me. Or I can look at this and say, what has transpired? What have we learned? And what have been the progressions? And how can we have gratitude for everything that has happened or transpired? And as hard as that is, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy, of course, not for any of my siblings, because it's kind of hard to believe that Daddy has not been on this earth for almost a year. And just in my perspective, I think that he would definitely want us to think of all the progressions and things, the good things that have happened, and what can we learn from that? So what in your opinion, Casu, have we learned?
Well, one thing that I am grateful for is I look at the dynamics really of where we are in our world, Daddy's contribution to that world, and in some ways, it's a blessing that he's not seeing what's going on in our country, because that would be very upsetting to him. He was a veteran. He fought. He loved our country. He loved that he was a first generation Italian, born here, worked very hard all his life to provide for his family, but to also serve others. And even though when he left service, he continued to serve within the Knights of Columbus, he served within his church, his community, as well as from a political perspective. So I think for me, first and foremost, I don't have to witness, or any of us have to witness, his reaction to what's going on. And I think that is a blessing, because this would break his heart. Also, even just coming up on, he would, as news keeps coming on, and there's some breaking news that I'll share momentarily. I look at other families that lost their loved ones to either comorbidities, related to one thing, but were diagnosed with something else. The families that sadly could not visit their loved ones in the hospital or the nursing home. And I remember that short period of time where Dad had to go in to get some tests done with his heart, which we knew, his heart was failing. He was suffering from congestive heart failure for many, many years, and it's a miracle. He lived such a happy-go-lucky life all his life. He was just that even keel. He was I always say, Mommy was the storm, and he was just like, the lagoon, just the flowing. He would have his moments, maybe a little waterfall over here and there, but for the most part, he was the lazy river, the lagoon. Just he had that spirit about him. But when I look back to those poor families, the blessing of us being able to be with him during his passing, well, during up even to that point, was he was a very stickler. He did not want people visiting him with masks, and he got some resistance on that from some of his nieces and nephews, and he I think supported that, but he did not. He said, "I want to see your face. My time on this earth, I've served." He welcomed that he was going to be received into the Lord. And he was blessed that he wasn't stuck. We kind of broke him out of the hospital just in time. He still had a few good weeks. And even all the way up to the morning of his passing, everything was a blessing. The last 24 hours for me personally was hard. I would think the one thing that I've struggled with, that I did not, and I've just started to talk about it more openly, is having the decision on my shoulders of, giving him his medication. I apologize, there's a plane going by. If that's loud, it'll be going by very shortly. But when you have a loved one that is, in that stage of getting ready to pass, and or you want to make them comfortable, we know that there is medication that can ease that anxiety, because not only are they going through some physical stuff, there's also mental things that a patient that is entering into that kind of that next phase, they go through a lot of anxiety. So obviously you want to keep them comfortable, you want to keep them calm. And for the longest time, like, I had no problem doing it, and I'm grateful that I did do it. But I was not prepared for the guilt that came with that. And that's something that I'm still working with, because you're the one that's giving him this medication. And the more you increase it, which of course we had to, we were under doctor's orders and hospice care, what that kind of means, what you're doing. And mentally I did, but I wasn't prepared for the aftermath, which has continued. But I look at that I took on that responsibility, which was hard. And the aftermath of that was even harder, because I know from a logical standpoint, it was the correct thing to do. I know from a logical standpoint, it was helping our dad, but I wasn't prepared for the mental aftermath. So when I look at that part, and I've watched the transformation of me kind of accepting that, and I do believe that Dad has guided me throughout this whole year with that responsibility and the aftermath of the responsibility, because there is some, you learn more and more about yourself. And I, again, go back to that was still a blessing, because I had the opportunity to not see our dad in a hospital. We as a group, as his children, were able to assist him into that next afterlife. Sadly, not many over the last year and a half have had that same privilege. And it is a privilege. It's a privilege to see a child be born. It's a miracle, but death is also a miracle. It's also a privilege to know that you are supporting that person in their next phase of their journey, because we as Christians believe that there's another life after there. And we had received some really cool messages after he passed, hours after he passed, that still hold true to my heart and that have eased that. So I think, what I look for, which I think our dad looked for always, were the little blessings. Don't get caught up too much with the big stuff. The big stuff is always great to celebrate. The big stuff is always great to, come together and take on a project, but don't forget the little blessings. And for Dad, the little blessings were really memories, chatting, watching his children bicker, watching his children, reminisce about their childhoods of who did what. He also got a big kick out of seeing what annoyed his children and watching his part of his siblings annoy other siblings because it just made him chuckle. So, I mean, we were blessed. Again, I go back to these other families that didn't have that same experience. And for those, my heart breaks for them. And I think when we share the positive piece to it, we are helping heal other people with their own mourning as well. So I think, there were so many different aspects of what transpired after Dad died that are still instrumental even as of today. And I don't think we're fully aware of all those gifts and blessings from his passing. Yes, we celebrate his life, all that he was on this earth, but he was bigger than that. He touched not only our family and his relatives, but, he touched so many in different aspects of whether it was, the church community, whether it was the skating community, our mom's travel business that our sister now has taken over since her passing. And so there's so many different aspects that he sprinkled those poppy little crystals of happiness and goodness to everyone he touched.
I absolutely love how you described your take on that time that we had for Dad. And I look at that back too is, okay, those were the 2 months that were probably the hardest and maybe the saddest, but overall the happiness and the joy to see our dad light up when one of his children flew in from out of state, when
Right.
his nieces and nephews came to visit him, when his cousins came to visit him, who were like his nieces and nephews. And as Fran and I were talking last night, kind of about this same thing, and I said, because Fran and I and you obviously were in the room together when Daddy passed. And I said, I feel very, very blessed. I've witnessed, really, literally have witnessed 2 miracles this past year. The first being, as sad as it was to see Daddy pass, but the beauty and the glory and the joy in his face when we literally witnessed him being accepted into the Lord's arms. And then again, most recently, my son's progression with his TBI journey. To me, that is a miracle. That is a miracle that I'm witnessing daily because it was such doom and gloom for him. No doubt he's got a long road ahead, but from where they said he would be to where he is now, miraculous. So I feel so blessed, so overwhelmed with gratitude and joy in my heart that I have been able to see these witness and experience these miracles. And there's no doubt that Daddy in many ways will always be with us, obviously, always forever in our hearts. But like the other day, our dad passed away and he would call it his media room where his big TV was. He wanted to be in front of his TV. And that's kind of where I get my TV thing from. I know that. And I'll often when I walk through there, it's almost as if I hear him say, "Hi, Jan." And outwardly, out loud, I say, "Hi, Daddy." And this one particular day, I was thinking it was Thursday or Friday last week, and I kind of stopped and I said, "Daddy, let me know that you're here." I don't know why I said that. I just said it. And I just paused for a moment. And then all of a sudden, his sound bar went, bloop. And I'm like, "Whoa, way to go, Pops." And I just kept walking. So, there are blessings all around us, and we work through those experiences, and we work through our feelings on what has transpired, what has transpired, and maybe what will be. We don't know what will be because that is in the future, but we hold those memories close and safeguard them because, and I don't want to say that's all that we have. We have so much more than what we think we do.
We do. And I, every Saturday, the moment he passed, I had set my alarm. So every Saturday, it's precisely the moment he passed, it just, my phone gives me that alarm, and it just like, hey Dad, how you doing? And I'll have a conversation with him, and it just, I think I'll probably keep it forever that way. It's just something that makes me pause at that moment. And I wouldn't say that I get into like this, tremendous sad state. It's more of, how are you, Mom, doing? And the interesting thing that our cousin brought out was, and I don't know if there's an exact terminology about it, but they equate time on earth versus time in heaven. And it was interesting to see that the time on earth is much slower than the conversion of time in heaven. There's some sort of mathematical thing that our cousin figured out through some sort of reading or whatever. And literally, so, that kind of weighs on my mind. Like we move much slower than earthly time, much slower than heaven time per se. So that kind of always pops into my head as well. But I think Dad would want us to pursue, which we have been. He absolutely loved our podcast. He loved that we were collaborating, but he also loved the fact that we were carrying on the tradition of going after worthy causes and speaking up that for those that don't have a voice or for injustices. And I think part of our podcast has kind of come into, because when we talk about health and wellness every day with all of our customers, our clients, our viewers, our audience, we really have gotten a clearer picture of how much what is going on in our world impacts our health and wellness, our mindset, our stress levels. And these are all things that are intricate to the way our beautiful machine of a body works to protect itself, its immune system, all of those things incorporated together. And I think Dad would say we were on the right track with that, because we do a lot of times I'll get, a message from a viewer or somebody, that I know, oh, you chat about that. And I cannot believe that somehow you really intertwine that with health and wellness. And I would have never thought it that way. And I think that's part of our message is there are forces outside that we are not in control of. We talk about that. We are never in control. You're only in control of how you act, how you behave, and how you react. So those are the only things that we really, truly in life control. As well as like when I say action, being kind, you have the choice. There's always two sides: be kind, be rude, be tolerant, be impatient. So there's always those two things going on, and it's kind of like a battle within. But all those different things impact our health, our wellness, and our mindset, because it really is going to depict what kind of day we're going to have. Are we going to get sidetracked? But it also gives us the energy to be able to help others that might not see it that way, and or if it has to do with a particular cause, that when you take on a worthy cause of action, it also helps your health and wellness because you have purpose, right? You realize that you're helping someone else that maybe cannot help themselves. And I think that's also been one of the biggest joys that we've received throughout this year is I think we're more driven and passionate about helping other people, just like our parents were.
Yes, and absolutely. And, a side note to that is I am just overwhelmed with gratitude, and I want to thank everyone, like really everyone, for your continued messages checking in to see how Ryan is doing, and obviously very overwhelmed with his friends set up a GoFundMe page for him. And he is almost, that goal is of 25,000. I think it's about $1,400 away from that goal. And I am, as a parent, I just want to thank all of you so much. I think there was like over 430 donations. Every donation, I am just so grateful, that Ryan does not have to worry about how is he going to pay his rent, how is he going to pay his bills. I just can't thank you enough. So I wanted to make sure that I voiced that I wanted to thank all of you so much. I'm just overwhelmed as a parent with such overwhelming gratitude in my heart. And I thank all of you. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. So that goes to show you that there is kindness. There is kindness everywhere. And for every action, there is a reaction. And I know for Ryan that he's always been a giver, and for him to be on the receiving end is very foreign to him. And he said to me in a text message, "Mama, I'm dumbfounded." And I reminded him of the time when I was pregnant with him. I don't know if I even ever, I'm sure I told you this at one point, but long story short, I had the opportunity when I was working in Hartford to meet Bishop Desmond Tutu. And he blessed Ryan. And I said to Ryan, you're destined for great things, and your progression of where you are with this injury is miraculous. So you still have miraculous things to do. And this is going to help ease your worries. And just thank you. Thank you.
Right. And that's, you do when you have this serious injury and the medical bills are piling up, that weighs on you. So, in that way, in that regard, that's a good thing that, he's receiving all that help. And of course, if you want to contribute, Jan's got a link on her page, and I'll also repost the link on my page as well. Because it, in a time in our lives where there is little ways that people feel like they can help other people because, maybe they're living their own fear themselves, they're not getting out as much, what's the driving force of what's going on in our country is fearful. Giving is one of those things. It's the greatest human emotion is gratitude. And if you can be grateful enough, and it doesn't matter the amount, whether it's $10, $20, whatever it may be, it all goes to helping Ryan with his medical bills. So we appreciate everyone. And it really goes to show you the heart of giving, what you think is a click of a button and how it impacts somebody else. There's so much to be said about today's holiday, where we are in our worlds, what we see, what we feel, a lot of emotions. And I guess the only way I'm dealing with today, because I've got a lot of emotions of things that are going on. The breaking news that I was going to share with you, or am going to share with you, is, a college in Massachusetts has just now implemented, if you were going to attend their games, they want proof of your vaccination. And, when I talk to people about it, I'm going to give you another example of something that happened in correlation with that, of where we are in the world, respect of privacy, especially where our health and wellness is concerned. That is our right. Our health is private to us and or who we choose to share it with, but also with our doctors and nurses. So kudos out to all the medical staff. But I was at a cookout yesterday, a birthday party / cookout pool party. And a woman, and I entered this party, did not know anyone. The few people that I did know didn't come till a little bit later. And I walked in, and the woman, was chatting, and I introduced myself, and she immediately said to me, where are you from? Blah 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 blah. Are you vaccinated? And I just kindly smiled, and I said, I kind of had this puzzled look, and she says, "Well, I have to know, are you vaccinated?" And she had a mask on at the moment, and we were indoor, in open concept home. And I said, that's a personal question. It's very polite. I just said, that's a personal question. So she proceeded to say, well, I'm a chiropractor. And I said, your point? I have patients that I'm serving. I'm like, okay. So then she like literally had the mask. Now she's taking the mask. So I need to know. Basically, she was asking, but was I guess was not prepared for my calmness and or my answer. Should I put the mask on? Should I not put the mask on? So I wanted to make her feel at ease. And I said, you're more than welcome to wear the mask if you choose to wear the mask. That's your choice. But I need to know. And I just smiled at her. And what I saw there was, I wasn't, I'm at a friend's home, so I would never get into any kind of deep discussion with someone. I was very polite, and but what I noticed was, not only I wasn't sure if it was her, it didn't appear to me, in my opinion, that it was fear, real fear for her. It was more of, I want to know whether you have it or not, and I'm making a statement. And I thought, that's kind of a bad way to start to meet somebody. Number one, you're in someone's private home. Come to turn out, the owner of the home, who is my friend, didn't even really know her. She's a brand new neighbor. And she goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said, no, don't apologize. I mean, and funny thing is, as the day went on, and the mask wasn't even on anymore. So, and then she was also putting out her business cards. So I go, what is this really all about? Now, could I gotten a little snarky about it? Of course I could have. Naughty Bus would have, in the right moment. But you have to pick and choose your battles. And even though, like what's going on in Massachusetts, where this particular college is now, forcing people to prove that they were vaccinated or not, there are consequences for decisions. We all talk about that. We're not in control of what someone else does or what another institution does, but we do have the right to respond in a way that suits us. So all those that were really focused so much on the mask wearing, I've come to, and I've always been very vocal about that. It's really not about that. It's about more control of, the word of coercion, comply, conform. And isn't it sad, on Labor Day, that was the news that I woke up to, and I thought, wow, it's a great college, great university, loved going to their football games, but I'll never attend again. That's not going to change the outcome, but you have to make decisions based on what is good for you, for your health, for your wellness, your mindset. And I thought it was kind of a sad thing to wake up to.
Wow. I briefly saw that, so I'm gonna have to really look at that again when I have a moment. But it's so true. And I've often said this myself, that, I have no problem if people want to wear a mask. And that is the greatness of the United States of America, that we have those freedoms and liberties to choose what is right for us and for our situations. I think what is comical, in a sense, is when you see somebody wearing a mask in their car all by themselves. Again, their right and privilege. I just think it's comical in the terms of, that should be the one place if you are by yourself. I mean, I understand, obviously, like if you're a healthcare worker, maybe you have to drive one of your clients to a doctor's appointment. I get it, but mask wearing to me can also be comical, especially, and I've noticed this a lot when I go into the grocery store. Somebody's wearing a mask. They're not wearing gloves. they're touching other things that people have touched, and their hands are on their masks, or they're scratching their neck, whatever. Like, does anybody see the irony in that? Like,
And
I
I'm
don't,
glad that you brought that up, because as she was asking me about, whether I was vaccinated or not, she kept putting the mask on and off, up and down. She was grabbing a water bottle, eating, from, the platters of food, putting, she put the mask down, then it was in her pocket. And I thought, if you're, I don't understand the correlation that your chiropractor had anything to do with that. But the point being, if you have any indication that or not indication, if you have any input in your profession from a medical perspective, there is a lot of data out there that does not support wearing a mask. And even so, a biologist that I've come to become friends with, and she's given me such great information, her perspective is going to be based on fact and data. And the data, as she said, does not support it. She said, you maybe, and it's minuscule, you'll maybe get 15 minutes of protection, because after that, the normal fidgeting and touching, taking off, putting in, and cross-contamination, not only that, but your own breathing, the carbon dioxide, like just all these different things that go into that, contaminate the mask itself. So while I didn't, what for me, it was not an appropriate time to even get into that discussion from a data perspective. I just kindly, declined. I never answered. It was polite, but I could see by my not answering what she wanted me to answer was driving her more crazy. So I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
and I don't think that some people know how to respond to that. I had that one guy a couple months ago. Now he's on the other side of it was right before Governor Lamont lowered the mask mandates. Like, it was right before, and he's on the other side of the parking lot. We're in the same lane, and I'm over here, quite a distance. Hey, you gotta put your mask on. And I just calmly said, well, I kind of like breathing my own fresh air and not breathing in my carbon dioxide before I get to the entrance. And when I get to the entrance of the store, I'll put it on. You got to put your, and he continued on, and I just ignored him. And I felt really bad for that person. Like, it almost made me sad that this person was that fearful being outside
I'm breathing air.
And yeah, like, I prefer to breathe fresh air. I prefer not to breathe in my carbon dioxide. If I have to wear a mask to go into an establishment, whatever that may be, although I don't like that, if I need or want to go into that establishment, well, then of course I have to abide by the rules of that establishment. But you won't see me wearing a mask alone in my car. You won't see me walking around my little circle with a mask on. That's just not going to happen. Again, I respect everybody's wishes to do what they need to feel, what they feel they should do for themselves. And I think the big issue that comes into play for a lot of people is other people's fears of projecting their fears and mandating, not actually coming out and mandating, but their fears are mandating how they talk or speak with other people. Hey, like that person that asked you, are you vaccinated? They're projecting that fear on you. That's what I have a problem with.
Right. And I do find, sadly, that aggressive type of question, because they don't, and even like, again, I don't know this woman. It wasn't a calm, like, oh, by the way, are you vaccinated? It was like, are you vaccinated? Like, in this very aggressive, I gotta know now, like, I have to know type of feeling towards it. And I just remain calm. And what I have noticed more and more is those that are vaccinated and or wear the mask, which I guess the argument then you go back to, I thought if you were vaccinated by the propaganda that, has been put out to citizens, that they didn't have to. And there's a lot of controversy going back and forth of if you're this, then you're that. But now even the vaccination is not good enough. Now you have to have a booster. I find that those individuals that have made that rightful choice for themselves and their own body are the ones that are very aggressive when it comes to that topic. They're aggressive to some degree, to almost being out of control. You don't find, you're going to find some people that will kind of get into the debate, and the debate could get heavy at times, but you never see anyone that does not wear and chooses not to wear a mask, or that chooses not to get a vaccination, aggressively asking the person if they were or they're not. Like, they just, to me, there's more tolerance because we want our choice to be respected. We respect your choice. And the respect from that aspect is, it's not mutual.
No,
Their mindset is comply and the good of all. And sadly, it breaks my heart. And this is why I'm so grateful that Dad doesn't see this, what is going on, is because that mentality. Try speaking to someone who legally became a legal citizen of the United States. I know so many people from Venezuela, from Germany, all different areas that went through traumatic experiences with the country that they fled from. They came over to the United States because of what we are as Americans, the land of the free and the brave, of opportunity, that you can be anything, regardless of race, religion, creed, color, whatever it may be, and be successful in whatever your version of success is. And for them to see what is going on in our country, that's when you get a true perspective of what communism and socialism is all about. And they cringe when they hear the word comply. They cringe when they hear for the good of all. So if anything that we can learn, that I would suggest from other people, is regardless of your choice, be grateful that you had the opportunity to make the choice for yourself, but don't inflict your need to control the next person that you might not know their reasons behind their choices, and you just assume there's a line that you shouldn't cross. And sadly, I think those that receive the vaccination, not all, but you will find 9 out of 10 of anyone that you run into that doesn't have that same tolerance. Because there's a lot of people that got the vaccination that support those that don't get the vaccination. They believe in the right of choice. But then there's that larger segment, and it's a larger segment of those that are pro this, but are very get very antagonized and upset and aggressive over those that made a choice that is different from their choice. And I think that's the sadness of what is going on. And I'm glad that our dad is not witnessing that piece to history, because it's a sad piece of history.
Mm-hmm. I agree, and so well said. And on that note, Labor Day 2021, Monday, September 6th, as we go forward today, think of all the wonderful things that you've witnessed this past year. There's miracles everywhere. On that note, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I am with TwoSistas,
and this is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss. We wish you all love of red, white, and blue today. Get out there, always pay it forward, be kind to others, help those that are in need, and I guarantee you that you will feel that exact moment of the greatest emotion of all for human beings, which is gratitude. With that, we will see you tomorrow for Triumph Tuesday. I hope some of you triumphed over this last week. Maybe it was a project, maybe it was a new health journey, maybe you got out of your comfort zone, whatever what it is, we want to know about it. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.